Hey, this is Mr. Poggio, and this is 16.7 and 16.8, your five-city data dive on AQI levels, Air Quality Index for Module 16. So we've already gone through, again, Monday. We had some updated slides. We did a quick start, or what we called the Air Quality Basics 16.4. We just learned a little bit about this measurement of air quality. Tuesday, you had a discussion about what is air quality. We even touched on indoor pollution versus outdoor pollution and how sometimes indoor pollution can be worse. On Wednesday, you watched an ed puzzle that had to do with Air Quality 101, and then we read an article with pandemic qualities or what's happening with quarantining and how that affects air quality. And also remember the seismologist too that was talking about earth movements and sound as well, especially sound in the ocean. Yesterday, is when you completed your article. And remember, there was some scientific writing in that article. I really want to highlight claim, evidence, and reasoning. We used this as a sentence frame to help us out, specifically really focusing on the claim that Mariana Coren wrote in her article. And today, 16.7 and 16.8, I've updated the documents. A couple things that I wanted to change. Specifically, it looks completely different now. I added, so one of the big things I wanted to change, I'm going to highlight here, number 4. I said, don't worry about dates. That was one of the original instructions. Making dates makes it more challenging in your data dive. So you're still going to be doing the exact same thing. You're going to be looking for the 5 highs and the 5 lows, or in other words, the best AQI levels for the year or the worst AQI level for the year. And you're going to be picking 4 cities. If you'd like to replace the data blitz city, that's fine. But I used Anaheim, and unfortunately, and maybe ironically enough, the air quality in Anaheim yesterday was very, very poor due to the fires. That's why you could see the current AQI, which was yesterday for me, which was the 3rd of December, was as high as 116, which is in the unhealthy for sensitive groups. Again, this is your AQI from the Environmental Protection Agency. So your goal, you still need to, I would suggest watching Mr. Padilla's video, but you're going to go to this website right here, Plume Air Quality or AQI levels. When you go there, it looks something like this. It'll give you a world map, and you go ahead and put in your city. Let's use, and I talked to you guys about Shanghai. You remember Mr. Poggio almost got stuck in Shanghai due to air quality 4 or 5 years ago. But you'll get a chance, and you could search your city, and this will give you the live right now. So right now in Shanghai, the air quality is measured at 43, and that's what you see over here. And you're going to click on year. And over the year, try to find the peaks, the 5 high peaks and the 5 low peaks. And remember, the 5 high peaks are going to be worse quality, while the 4 low peaks are going to be best quality. So for example, if you click right here, it looks like 26 might be a high. And again, it might take a second to find the perfect lows and highs, but I would use 30 here. Let's see, for the worst AQIs, I think that's got to be pretty close, 165. You'll see the word dire here, and I'll explain that shortly. The Plume AQI level has a slightly different measurement standard than the EPA, and I'll show you the difference between that and the extra credit option for part 2. So we're going to be going through this for the year and finding the 5 worst and the 5 best AQI levels for 5 cities of your choice. Again, if you want to use Anaheim, I'm okay with that. And there's Mr. Padilla's Ottawa, Canada. Canada must be a very nice place to live when it comes to air quality. If you take a look at the 5 best here for Ottawa, Canada, and Anaheim, even in the best, you could see there is a significance in difference. But of course, in the worst, there's a far different difference between Ottawa, Canada, and Anaheim. But you're going to pick one city right here for North America. You're going to pick another one here for South American city, pick a European city, and pick an Asian city. Again, if you want to replace Anaheim, feel free, but really you could just make it 4 that you're researching. When you research, I want to show you guys how you can go through, and then again, you're going to color code, so make sure you read the directions here, but color code it by the AQI values right here. So in order to do that, let's say, for example, you pick, and I'll show you mine. I picked New York for my American city. And let's just pretend New York had a 81 as one of the worst levels for its AQI last year. Well, you see that 81 coincides with the moderate level, so you'd make sure to go 81 and go to this highlighting option here, and that would be a yellow. So there you go. You'd highlight it yellow, and that's just an example. Should probably delete that before anybody gets on the document. Well, make sure to color coordinate with the key for the AQI levels. And down here, this is kind of an extra credit option here. You're going to pick and keep your same main cities, and you're going to do something else with the plume, and that's why I have here plume AQI level. It's very similar. I have more information on it here, so you could click a link and see what the air plume or the article on plume index represents. But basically, instead of using good, moderate, unhealthy for sensitive groups, unhealthy red, very unhealthy purple, and hazardous, their scale kind of focuses more in the first 300. So hazardous means like obviously very hazardous. So they focus more on like the 0 to 300 value. It's still the same quantifiable numerical value, but they use fresh air days is the best. Number of average days, I think average means like kind of normal. And then number of poor days, number of very poor days, number of dire days. And then very rarely you'll find extreme pollution days and what they call the air apocalypse days. So I put LOL. I thought that was kind of funny that they use that. That's not Mr. Poggio joke. But if you go down here, you're going to see days per year. And days per year right here, when you search your city, these numbers represent each number of days per year for the plume AQI values. So for example, you'll see here we're at one of the peaks. Tuesday, September 8th, again, don't worry about dates. It was at dire levels, 165. There must have been bad pollution that day. And that is represented here as one of the days. I guess it was 51 days where it was dire. So you could actually type these in, but I realized I could actually copy these. So if you just copy these numbers. And Shanghai is unique because it has air apocalypse days and it has very, very, very poor air quality days. So if you just copy these values down here and you go back to your document, I'm going to use the graphing area just to show you, and you hit Control Paste, you'll see it will actually populate by color. So I've already organized the colors for you, and the colors automatically come as a custom color in your filter. So you'll see them now in the filter. If you click on your filter, these custom colors right here are actually those colors we copy and pasted. So I would use, since I already know these numbers coincide here, I would go up to, obviously I'd write Shanghai here. And then I would go to actually, I don't think it has any fresh air days. So it's funny, I would start my paste here. And when I hit copy paste, I should see all my colors coordinate. Sometimes some of the colors don't go through. So these 26 does not represent fresh air days, but average days. So you might have to go color code or color coordinate. So in this case, again, it's in the custom frame, and I think it's that one right there. Boom. And that would be my Shanghai values. And again, you're going to pick your own city. You do use the space for copy and pasting or any space. Just remember all you have to do is highlight your cells, and you could just go back to your color filter and just put reset, and boom, they're at 0. So there you are for your extra credit on the plume AQI level. What you're going to do is when you're all done with your data, you're going to highlight all the way up here. Actually, excuse me, you don't want the city portion. You're going to highlight right here. You might want to delete some of the AQI levels, see how it works on your graph. But when you go here and you highlight this space, just like we did in our San Diego Zoo research project, you're going to go up to Insert, and then you're going to click Chart. And when you click Chart, it's going to create a chart for you. Now, you don't have all the data here, so the chart's not going to be fully reflective of, obviously. I see how I just have two. But you can, again, manipulate your graph. Click at the very top with these 3 dots here, and it'll give you a chance to manipulate and edit your graph. When you're all done, your assignment should look something like this. And I actually linked mine as well. So again, I looked up for the North American city, New York, and there are New York's best and worst AQI levels. I looked up Buenos Aires in Argentina, no pun intended. Get it? Buenos Aires, air quality level. Anyways, Then I looked up Barcelona for Europe, and I researched Shanghai as an Asian city. So when I collected all my data, there is what my graph looks like. So you could see I have today's levels right here. I have the best AQI levels right here, and then I have the worst AQI levels. And just so you know, your graph will populate its own color key. So don't think this color key matches this color key. It does not. Google Sheets just makes their own colors. And I did the same thing down here with the number of days for each city at each plume AQI level. So we could see here Shanghai in red, these are average days. So again, the colors here do not coordinate to the colors here. But the average day red over here would represent this yellow line. So you can see Ottawa has tons of average days, right? Because they have a really good air quality level. While Shanghai, look at that, it has barely any, right? 26. So this number 26 average days is represented right here in this teeny little red bump. So you could see good days are in red, and Shanghai hasn't had very many good days. In fact, Shanghai is the only one that has this light purple, the airpocalypse, because there were 11 airpocalypse days in Shanghai. So I hope that helps. That's what you're doing. You are researching, I guess, 5 cities, but you could take Anaheim as the data blitz or a comparison city if you'd like. I've already done that for you. And then you are going to be writing your 16.8. I gave you lots of hints on that. Let me cut that out too, just in case anybody's accessing the document now. We'll delete that chart. And very bottom, remember, you are writing a paragraph reflection. That's the whole point of the performance task 16.8. And I put at the very bottom here on row 41. Lastly, here's the scientific data dive summary and analysis form that I suggest you use to write your 16.8 performance task. Again, this is from your 5-city data dive right here. It's really the same as 16.6. So again, I wanted to highlight this idea of paragraph writing, which is the performance task for this week. Really think about maybe using literally a sentence for each number here, a sentence for the claim, a sentence for evidence, and that's what we did for the article. You'll see it is very, very similar to what I suggest here. So for your claim, what is your data telling you or saying when comparing the 5 cities and your data blitz city? So I used Anaheim. So how could I compare my cities that I researched, which was New York City, Buenos Aires, Barcelona, and Shanghai, to Anaheim? And have 3 pieces of evidence and then accompany them with a piece of reasoning that supports your claim, as stated all right here. And lastly, number 8, make sure you have a conclusion, some type of concluding sentence or sentences. It doesn't have to be 8 sentences. It could be 9, could be 10. Maybe you combine your evidence and reasoning into one compound sentence. So maybe it's less than 8 sentences. This is just a suggestion. This is just some writing frames to help you out with your paragraph writing. But make sure in your conclusion sentence you have some type of perspective or opinion that's really anchored into your data that you've discovered from looking and researching your data from your 5-city air quality data dive for this week. So that's module 16. Good luck. Peace, Mr. Poggio. Happy learning.